Hi everyone, Cornell here from Piping Petals. Welcome to my online tutorial for piping a buttercream rose. In this tutorial, I'll demonstrate a technique and discuss the equipment you'll need to pipe an American buttercream rose on a cupcake. If you would like to know how to prepare the colors used or how to fill your piping bags with multicolored effects, please refer to my Working with Colors online tutorial. Let's get started. Right, the rose, and for that we're using a single nozzle. It's the Wilton 104, one of my most used nozzles in my collection. You definitely need this one in your collection since it's used for so many different flowers and leaves actually as well. It's an impressive flower. I often use the rose as the centerpiece in my cupcake bouquet, so a very handy one to know how to pipe. Wrap your bag around your forefinger, twist to have a nice pressure in your bag. You're going to hold your nozzle with the wide end against the cupcake and the narrow end facing upwards. And first off, we're just going to make a blob, which is going to help us build the bud of the rose. So just a bit of a blob right in the center of your cupcake. There we go. Now we're going to start with our petals for the bud, and we're going to start with 3 overlaying each other. So right against the cupcake with the wide end of your nozzle, going to squeeze, go over the blob and down. 2, 3. Okay, we're going to do that again. Just give your nozzle a wipe every once in a while. Tighten your bag. One, 2, 3. And you can already see the center of the flower starting in a very nice way. Don't worry about the outer edges looking really messy at this stage, because we are going to cover that with rose petals. Now, up until now, my nozzle was tilted a little bit inwards to create that look of the petals laying over each other and creating the center of your rose. We're now going to ever so slightly turn your nozzle more vertical so that we start opening the petals up. So more or less in the middle of a previous petal, so it looks like an inverted U shape, the petals that I pipe. In the middle of a previous one, we start going up, hold your nozzle vertical and down. And we're going to continue with that all around. Don't worry about counting now to 3 petals because it's getting a bit big now. So it takes more petals to cover your rose. Now with every petal you pipe, you'll see your nozzle is pushing the previous petal inwards a little bit. That's absolutely fine, and it's creating that hugging look in the middle of your rose. Right, let me just stop and show you there. That is a beautiful rosebud already. And we're now going to continue with this motion, adding a layer of petals every time, and ever so slightly with each layer we're going to open up your nozzle outwards with the angle to open up your petals. Remember to give your nozzle a bit of a wipe. So with the next row of petals, I'm actually slightly increasing the height because you want the center of your flower to be sort of hidden in the middle there. There we go. Next layer of petals. Give your nozzle a wipe. Right, we're now getting towards the end of our cupcake quite rapidly, so you want to start lowering the level of your petals and tilt your nozzle out even further. I'll show you what that might look like. So if you look from the side there, you can see my next petals are just slightly lower than the previous layer of petals. So we're just gently starting to work our way towards the edge of the cupcake. Look at that beautiful rose already. Stunning. You could stop at this stage and add a bit of green leaves around the side. You don't have to have the whole cupcake completely filled with your rose. I often use my rose as the center flower though, and it is really nice to have a nice big rose in the center of your cupcake bouquet. So I'm going to continue right to the end to show you what that looks like. Find my last petal. So from the middle of your previous petal, tilt your nozzle outwards even more. Lower the level of your petals. Now you might notice the edges of my petals with the rose is darker in color. So I'm using the accentuated edge method on my rose. So if you want to know how to fill your piping bag to get that effect, please go and have a look at my How to Work with Colors online tutorial. It is a really useful technique to know for your roses. It creates a stunning effect. That's a very beautiful rose. Almost there. Tighten your bag. You'll find that naturally you tilt your hand more and more because we're now right at the edge of your cupcake. There's not a lot of space, so you sort of have to tilt your hand to get the wide end of the nozzle in there. And there's not much space to do the upwards motion of the inverted U shape that we've done for the petals anymore. So it is fairly flat at this stage. And you're just going around the sides, making sure you cover the surface of your cupcake. Another reason you want to cover the entire cupcake with either rose petals or leaves is that your buttercream protects your cake from drying out. So if there's any exposed cake left, you'll see I'm now literally just doing just a straight squiggle just to fill the space. So if there's any exposed cake, it will dry out. Now there is your rose, completely filled up all of the cake surface, right, nice and neat right at the end of the cupcake. So all that messy inside that we've seen before is completely covered with petals, so you don't have to worry about that. And that is a stunning centerpiece for any cupcake bouquet. I hope you've enjoyed this tutorial. You can also subscribe to my Blooming Bakes YouTube channel for complimentary videos on how to make the best American buttercream for piping flowers, as well as cupcake recipes and lots more. See you soon.